What is going on, everybody? We are live. We had to start this live stream a little early before my boy Jeff came in because I had to give shout outs to my boy Cody with the $5 super chat. And he said, I love what you guys do. Would love if y'all did a Twitter space so I could shoot the shit with you two. Detroit basketball. Brother, thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. I promise you, we will definitely be doing some Twitter spaces in the future and would definitely love the opportunity to have you on and shoot the shit with you too, brother. Seriously, thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat, for the support. Thank you, everybody that's been coming through and being in these chats. But what's going on, everybody? What's good, sir? What up, David? Welcome to the stream, brother. What up, John? Thank you all so much for coming in. Seriously, man, I appreciate each and every one of you that are subscribed, that are viewers to this channel, that regularly come on through. I mean, guys, it's time. We got some more Summer League basketball tonight. Now, obviously, with that, we have no clue if Jaden Ivey's playing tonight or not. Chuck, I'm glad I already got you entertained, but seriously, thank you so much for being up in the UK and being here for this. What up, Carl? Thank you so much for being here, my friend. You know I love you, my guy. Always love whenever you come on through. In fact, if you want to join the stream, let me send you a link. But in addition, we got our guy Jeff that's going to be coming on through. I invited Joe Polo if he wanted to come back on. I'll definitely be sending links over. What's going on? We got the game's going to be at 9 o'clock. So it's going to be in about 13 minutes. And I thought it was going to be on ESPN. However, it is on it's on NBA TV. So what up, Joe? We got our boy Jeff Mother. I right. Jeff, what's good, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited. I mean, although we might not see Ivy or Stewart or Killian Hayes, of course, I'm still excited to watch Pistons, man. So ready to get this thing going.
Yeah, exactly, man. This is one of those things where no matter who plays, like we're tuned in. But
yes, sir.
But Jeff, we got to catch you up on a couple things. First of all, we got to give a shout out. You got to give a shout out to our boy Cody, who gave us a $4.99 super chat before we even went live. So this guy's a madman. But then in addition, we got our guy Chuck, who we normally joke about. However, in the UK, it's currently 2 a.m. and our guy's staying up to watch this stream. So we got to give some love to Chuck, man. But as much as we joke around, we love you, man. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, shout out Cody. Shout out Chuck. Chuck's he's just a Woodward Sports supporter, man. I always see him in the chat. He's always supporting what we do. So big shout out to those guys. I love them.
Absolutely, man. Jeff is the second greatest of all time. I firmly believe that. I agree. No, I'm totally kidding. Totally.
Shout out Donovan, man.
Oh, yeah, 100%, man. Appreciate you, Donovan. No, Jeff is the GOAT. We love him. Super glad he's part of this channel. But with that, Jeff, we got, tonight, more than likely, we'll still probably get to see Jalen Duren. We'll probably still get to see Isaiah Livers. We'll probably not see Saben Lee because of his injury. What are you looking for out of tonight's Summer League game? Because now that we're kind of halfway through our schedule, technically, we're going up against Benny Math and the Pacers. What's on your mind tonight?
It's really the young guys. It's who you just said, Jalen Duren, Isaiah Livers. At first, it was Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren, but now that we kind of got the process going and we know what Jaden Ivey is already, we know what Isaiah Stewart brings to the table. I kind of already know what Isaiah Livers brings as well, but it's really those guys. It's the guys that are going to be using the rotation, guys that are going to be substantial to wherever the Pistons want to be, like just those role players I'm excited to see. Right. I would love to see Killian, but I'm excited to see Duren and Livers.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it.
Real quick, it is not confirmed no Ivy. However, we have not heard anything about Ivy's status yet. He did say nothing serious. I'm good. However, he was seen after the game limping. I mean, it's a sprained ankle. To be honest with you, there's really no real reason for him to play. But hold on. Yo, my guy, Ashton. You know I love you, my man. Thank you so much for hopping in. Dude, thank you so much for being in the chat, brother. You know I love you, my guy. If you want to come through the stream, let me know.
Yes,
but otherwise, brother,
dude,
hey.
Ashton, as the door's unlocked, Ashton, you walk right in.
Yeah, Ashton, you got to come back on the pod soon, man. We'd love to have you back, brother. But seriously, thank you so much for tuning in. But with that, too, I mean, like, even though obviously Detroit still has the desire to want to win the Summer League, right? Like, that's something that They've talked about, the players have talked about, they believe that they're the best defensive unit at Summer League. And I'm inclined to agree with them for what I've seen so far. I mean, like the thing that's been impressive has just been, for one, I think we've seen a lot of veteran presence from Isaiah Livers throughout this. We've seen Isaiah Stewart show that those aspects of his game that we were kind of hoping to see.
Mhm.
But in addition, I just think all around, I think there hasn't really been many disappointing showings out of the guys.
No, not really. And it would be nice to win the summer league. I think, to get the guys at least to start off the summer, free agency ends, you win the summer league, then you enter the season. Like, that's a good way to start. It's a good little morale booster. But again, I've never, even tonight, I'm not too concerned with the winner or the loss. It's really about the individual players. That's what summer league is about to me. So again, I'll take either one, but of course, winning the summer league would be great. Just don't let the Kings win it. That's all.
Hey, I mean, and that's the exact thing, man. The Kings won it last year, so it teaches you how much it means, right? And I mean,
right.
the other thing too, obviously, with that, there's always the reactions and everything we want to, make out of summer league. And I know that, like, even if Ivy doesn't play tonight, which like let's just collectively assume he's not, right? Like, let's just for our sake of not getting let down, let's assume Jaden Ivey's out for the rest of the summer league. Even if he is, I would still put those 5 minutes of him in that Wizards game. I would put those 5 minutes against anybody in the summer league. I'm dead serious.
Yeah, no, he had his hand in everything in those 5 minutes. That's why.
But even the first game too, like, even though we're talking about those 5 minutes, he had a solid showing in that game too. So
yeah, 26 to come out, and I even said myself, I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out and struggles a little bit. Came out 9 for 16, had 26 and 6. It's a pretty good night. So Jaden Ivey's shown me everything I wanted to see. He's just so much more athletic than everyone else in summer league. Like, at this point, you're just playing him to play him. I think experience is obviously going to bode well for him, but after an ankle injury, I wouldn't even risk it. Just let him rest. He was pretty pissed, obviously, when he got injured, so he wants to be out there. He's a competitor, so I'm not too concerned about it.
Yeah, without a doubt, man, without a doubt. And in big picture, I mean, we've already seen a lot out of these Pistons that give us hope and honestly give us pause and wonder, what could our rotation be this year? What does everything look like? So I mean, I think honestly we got answers to some of the questions that we had, but I think some of the questions that we can be asking ourselves now, like, we have some fun stuff coming up. What up, Anthony? Thank you so much for hopping in, brother. We love you, my guy. I'll send you a link if you want to come in as well. But always love the support. Always appreciate the love. But yeah, man. Listen, man, I still can't believe Ashton's already in here, was in here. That's crazy, brother. This stream's lit, man. Oh,
no, that's big. That's big time, man. I love when people show out, especially Ashton, man, giving some love. And Carl Collins now. What's up?
Yeah, we got our boy Carl in here now. What up, Carl?
What up, though?
Dude.
What up?
What up, though? Dude, thank you so much for being here. When I saw that you would be here, I was like, I got to get this guy on the stream at least a little bit. So thank you so much for hopping on, brother. How you doing?
Thanks for having me on, guys. I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Yeah. Dude, doing great. If you don't know Carl, if you don't know, now you know, right? Carl, first of all, one of our biggest day one supporters. So we're grateful for Carl.
It's facts.
But in addition, also doing some video editing stuff on his own end. I've watched that Jalen Duren video literally so many times. It made me want to run through a freaking brick wall. But
appreciate it, man.
But he's also doing some stuff with Woodward Pistons. Carl, you're the dude, man. Thank you so much for hopping on, and be sure you're following Carl if you're not. But Carl, what have been your takeaways from summer league, and as we're kind of going through these final couple games, what are you looking at as a fan? Like, what do you want to see?
Well, I've been impressed definitely with Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren, but really not the surprise, but something that I was looking forward to seeing from Isaiah Stewart was that he can step outside and shoot the three. I think it just helps us with spacing. It'll help everyone who's on the court be improved and they'll look better. So I'm just liking everything that I see so far, except for Saben Lee, of course.
Hey, what are you talking about, man? The maestro himself, Saben Lee. I will say, I've never seen Pistons Twitter overnight turn on somebody as quickly as they did Saben Lee.
Yeah. So again, like, and you've been preaching it. He's a third string, maybe even fourth string at this point guard. It's not some of what I've been saying about Saben Lee, and I'm assuming other fans as well, is in part jokingly, but it's still. I mean, it's still taking away, moments for Jaden Ivey to shine, and so that's really kind of where.
And I feel you
I
there.
am. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And especially too, like, I think with him, I think some of that over dribbling just comes from him trying to make a decision and trying to like process everything as a point guard. And the problem is like first of all, I mean, even though like G League is like the closest thing that you can get to like replicating the NBA game, it's still not the NBA game because you're not playing against NBA caliber guys each and every single night. And so I think with Saben, like, especially when you have to be that primary ball handler, a guy who, I from what I've seen from his game, it seems to be like he's a more natural scorer than he is a natural playmaker, in my opinion. And I think some of that is just, with that over dribbling, I think he's just trying to make the right decision. And sometimes you just don't have the time to make the right decision. You just need to make a decision.
The other thing is that a lot of these guys are trying to prove themselves so they can stay in the league. So
that's it. That's it right there.
I think Saben Lee, it just seemed like he was trying a little too hard to show that he's still he belongs. I don't.
Yeah.
And I still think like it's not like, I don't think like the book's written on him. I'm not saying like he's done or anything like that, but like definitely like, I will say if he's going to be on the main club this year, he's going to have to show better showings than that.
Definitely.
But, and I feel like in a way too, like that mentality being in the G League and being that dude, like the man won MVP of the G League. Like now he's going to the summer league. Like he's
at one point he was the leading scorer of the G League.
I'm him.
Right.
And to your point, Carl, like just trying to make a roster. I know it gets frustrating too because we're so, I wouldn't call it selfish, but we want to see everybody eat. We want to see Jaden Ivey eat everybody. And Saben Lee, to your point, Sean, like he's just a natural. I guess you call him scorer. I don't know. Is that the term, I guess, for it? In G League, he was getting buckets. But in summer league at times, he was a little frustrating. But shout out to Saben Lee, though.
Well, because I think the way that fans view the summer league is it's kind of like our NBA sandbox where we want to take our favorite toys and take them out to like test them for the first time. And we really want to like do with as much with these toys as we can. And then they're like, hey, how about this old toy that you've liked? No, that I want this. I want Ivy. I want Duren, man. It's like even last year, if Cade wasn't getting a shot, it was like, oh, but hey, look who else we got. Our boy Anthony, a.k.a. Pistons.
Yes, sir.
My God, he's got the guns out today and everything, man.
My God.
What up, man?
Dude, how's it going, brother? It's good to see you. What up, man?
What up, man? Pops his shoulders up.
Oh, my gosh. Anthony, now that you're in here, I need to share the clip that you posted on Twitter today of my reaction of when we found out Ivy was injured. So, for those of y'all that don't know, we did a watch along stream last week or on Saturday for the game. And I got up the one moment that there was an injury. And so, of course, I have to come back and find this out. And Anthony posted this clip earlier.
Ivy just went down.
Yeah, I see that. Man, that's not good. Yeah, stepped on his ankle.
All right, time to sit him for the rest of the summer league.
Yeah, I'm getting PTSD to Cade.
For real.
Literally, I can't hear any of this.
So
I'm not
true.
watching this. And we back.
And Ivy got hurt while you were gone.
That's
face
stare,
of
dude.
pure pain of like just all of the joy of my life just sunk out of my eyes in like a couple seconds.
That was everybody, dude. Like I was in Royal Oak and I had the same facial expression at a random bar. Like it was shocking. I mean, and once you saw the injury too, it's so unfortunate because I hate those types of injuries. Like not giving the shooter space to land. That's the most frustrating way I bet for a player to get injured too. Like you could tell in his face, man, afterwards. So at least it's light though. It's something slight. He'll be all right.
Yeah, without
Could have been way worse. Could have been way worse.
Yeah. It was a terrible moment to come back to, bro. It was like I was riding because especially I went to get a drink. Let me tell you, the high I was feeling walking to that fridge, I felt the confidence of a man that had weaponry behind him, you know? And then all of a sudden to find out that like your current like your prize possess like the thing that's got you pumped to be in this game in the first place out in 5 minutes. I was like,
That's
man,
tough.
it was tough. Jason said starting lineup: Ivy, Cade, Killian, Bay, and Stu. At reaction was goal. I like where your head's at, sort of. However,
All the ball
one
handlers.
well, also, can we get somebody in this lineup above 6'1" or like you know what I'm saying? Like that's a small lineup to start your game with. You know what I'm saying? Anthony, I want to get your thoughts. If you were to say as of today, what do you think is going to be the starting 5 day one?
So probably Cade, Ivy, Sadiq, Livers, and Stewart.
Really? You think Livers is going to get the starting nod?
Yeah, people are sleeping on Livers right now, honestly. Like, the fact that he's just so competent defensively and, you know, he's another shooter. I think if you want to be a better three-point shooting team than you were last year, you have Bay and Livers that are going to be open on the wings, because whether Cade has the ball, whether Ivy has the ball, they could just kick it out. And I think that's definitely a team that can improve the three-point shooting. I know some people are like, well, where's Duran? Maybe Noel starts, but I think Isaiah Stewart's going to be the starting 5 day one.
Yeah,
I like it. And me and Sean made a video about this too, and that was the one point I made is like, if you want to get Cade and Jaden to ultimately where we think where they're going, you need spacing. And I think Livers and Sadiq on the court at the same time, and you have Isaiah Stewart who can now step out and hit threes, like in transition to the ability they can switch everything. Like I like that starting lineup. And you can have Bagley off the bench, which he did come off the bench towards the end of last season, and it provides the Pistons much scoring. I mean, coming off the bench. So, but again, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Bagley was in there as well. So it's either one I'm good with. But I like the spacing, your idea. I would be all for it.
Yeah, I think for me, I see Bagley in there in the 4 day one. To me, like you give him that contract this summer. I'm not saying that like weighs into the decision, because ultimately Dwayne Casey's going to put out there who he thinks is going to give him the best chance to win basketball games. But at the same time, I think one thing that does give you day one is that, like, even though obviously Isaiah Stewart, like you want him, like if he's starting at the 5 and Bagley starting at the 4, I think one thing it allows you to do is like you can still try to space the floor with B Stu if you want, give that a trial, like run some plays and give him some run early at that, but also like it allows Bagley as well to be in his natural spot as well. But it looks like the Pistons are it looks like he's not out, but it looks like they're resting Ivy. So I would imagine that he's probably, at least for tonight, he's being rested. However, he's not being ruled out for the rest of Summer League, but for the sake of your sanity, I'd assume it's the rest of Summer League, just for the sake of everybody's sanity. So with that, yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Into what Mr. Wright said in the chat, Jaden got the guns, dude. I swear to God, this man is shredded. Like he really is. And they made the job Morant comparison, but in terms of physically, my God, like I'm not trying to. Maybe I have a man crush on him. I'm slowly starting to admit it, but the first game he came out, I'm like, that man's in shape for sure. It's like Jalen Duren. We talk about Jalen Duren, what he looks like physically. Jaden Ivey, man, as athletic as he is.
Yeah, Jaden Ivey's he's got a body to him too. It's not like his NBA body's trash. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, he's already tweeting like John Morant, so I love it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, oh, brother. So looking at this starting lineup, wow. So we're getting, we got Buddy Boeheim out there. We got Jalen Duren. We do not get Isaiah Livers tonight, it looks like. Looks like Livers might be done for Summer League as well. So this is for the most part, guys, this is going to be a Jalen Duren show. It looks like they're going to try to get him some touches tonight, probably run him as the number one option. But in addition, it looks like it's going to be a lot of younger guys tonight. So with that, any guys right now you're looking at in the starting 5 that you're anticipating anything out of tonight?
Gotta be Duren.
Duren.
Yeah, Duren, that's it.
He's going to get the most offensive touches tonight. So I'm excited to see him. I mean, in action with no Jaden Ivey, but Jalen Duren get a chance to start. Let's go.
Yeah. With that, oh man, Jaden Ivey's even got a tank top out right now, showing off them muscles, man. He's trying.
Guns out, dude.
Yeah, we already got 2 fadeaways from Duren in the post already, so it's going to be an offensive. It's going to be an offensive showcase tonight. To answer your question, the game is on NBA TV. So do with that information as you will. I'm not saying to use that information to find a stream online, but I'm not saying that either. But anyway.
No, we don't do that, Sean. What are you talking about? I don't
Yeah,
know
exactly.
what that is. No idea what that is.
No. Those
No.
sites exist.
No,
I
we
just
pay,
found that out.
we pay $100 to Valley because we love it, Sean.
Yeah, by the way, what do you guys think of that $20 a month subscription service?
I think it's a great alternative, but it's ridiculous. We have to spend $20 a month for one
Yeah,
channel.
I agree.
Yeah, that's the tough part.
I mean, I bought it, and then I was like, oh, crap, the Tigers are on. I have to listen to Matt Shepard. I was like,
Yeah,
man,
that's the other thing. You have to pay a premium to listen to Matt Shepard. Like, that's not fair.
You're still taking the L at the end of the day. That's a tough one.
Oh my gosh. I know he's going to be a Motor City Cruise guy primarily if he ultimately, stays on throughout the year. I know they just signed him as a two-way player, but I want to see more out of Buddy Boeheim, man. He like as far as like his shooting and as far as like everything he's been contributing so far, I just haven't seen that much from him. Another thing, currently, if you're not tuned in, it's currently looking like we might be in for a long night. The Pacers are currently up 7-0, and the Pistons can't buy a bucket right now, even if they wanted to. Hey, we're here, baby. We're here for it. This is what summer league's all about. Am I right?
Take the goods with the bad. Take the goods with the bad.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. Without a doubt. I mean, Jalen Duren is it's gonna be interesting to see what it's gonna be like with him getting the number one touches, but watching his offensive game so far without those other guys on the court to kind of help him get his playmaking.
yeah.
It's a little more apparent to see some of Duren's areas of growth. You know what I'm saying?
Well, going up against Isaiah Jackson, too, who's a guy that's very similar to Duren. I know I was really high on him in last year's draft because those guys are like Duren and Jackson. They're just high energy centers that they're just going to go at it. I mean, you can already tell, like, he's trying to back him down, and Jackson's not even like giving an inch.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And without a doubt, like the other thing too, just, I mean, when you have all the injuries that you have, but I mean, in addition, like the other thing too, like what was working for us in a lot of those summer league games is all the veterans that we had that were there to like help us and get us through a lot of those difficult moments, like even through that second half against Washington. So, I mean, for tonight, I mean, like other guys too, like obviously I know Braxton Key, who had some run with the roster last year, who was on that Pistons roster throughout like a lot of the COVID stuff. I know he's had some moments where he shined, and I know the Pistons technically cut him, but he's still on the summer league team. I don't think, it seems to me like he's playing for a G League spot right now more than anything, right?
Well, he's got a two-way contract, so he's good.
Oh, he's got a two-way contract? I thought he was. I thought they cut it before the season, or I thought they cut it before free agency.
They gave him a new one this summer.
Okay. So they re-signed him to another two-way. So okay, good. So our two-ways then are Buddy Boeheim and Braxton Key.
Yeah, and Buddy Boeheim is the worst two-way contract the Detroit Pistons have ever signed.
That was a your scratch my back, I scratch yours. Hey, John, or Coach
Jim.
Boeheim, let me get your son on the roster for you here real quick.
Like, give me Spencer Littleson back. Like, what the hell is this?
They got Jimmy too off the bench. Jimmy Boeheim. They got the whole Boeheim family, dude.
Oh, dude, what's better than one Boeheim who can't shoot? Two Boeheims who can't shoot, baby. That's what we want, baby. Oh my gosh. Shog Corp said that's not even close to true. They've had some bad ones.
Okay, maybe it's just recency bias.
Yeah. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I just found out the other night I'm still following Dwight Bikes on Instagram.
Wow, I haven't heard that name in forever.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, man. And I'm like, remember the good old days when we were overhyping even like our bench players like that? Like people,
Jordan
oh
Bone.
man, Dwight Bikes is a dog. Like he's
Jordan
not, like,
Bone.
he's just posting all his highlights from EuroLeague right now.
As soon as I say that, he hits a three.
Just like I had the effect on the injury, you have the effect on that too. Jason says, Summer League baby, thank you guys for the fun live streams for these games too. It's been special. I hope Detroit really ain't hot. No, hey, shout out to Detroit Kool-Aid. He's the best. We love him. Godfather, Woodward Pistons. We miss him. I sent him the link and an invite through too if he wants to come in. But I mean, listen, man. Hey, we're just here to enjoy basketball, have a good time, talk about what we're seeing, and if we're gonna get a matchup of this kind of magnitude, we're gonna have to get through it together somehow, man. And what better way than to talk some basketball, have some fun, answer some Pistons questions. Did you see those Duren post moves there? Did you like that little under with the little floater? I like that.
I like that, but I also liked how he made both of his free throws.
Yeah,
that's key.
Yeah.
That's key.
I mean, sample size, obviously, but
right.
Yeah.
But even when he's seen action, he hasn't been that. The thing I noticed about Duren too, and I'm really looking forward to him in the regular season if he can expand, because he can hit that 10 to 15 footer. Like I want to see him stretch out and start hitting some jump shots, and we'll talk about the three at a later date. But right now, I've seen it in college. He has it. It's just about opening up his game a little bit. So. Jalen Duren, I'm excited, man. Just be aggressive tonight. I don't care if he shoots 40% from the field. Just go out there and be aggressive. I don't even care if we lose, to be honest with you.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. One thing I've been thinking about quite a bit lately. So I don't know about you guys, but I know our longest, like one of our longer rivals. Like, who would you guys? Let me ask this: who would you guys consider to be the Pistons' biggest rivals?
Well, you gotta.
To me, I always saw I always hated the Pacers. To me, I grew up with that Pacers Pistons rivalry. That was the one that I was kind of ingrained in. To me, I always saw the Pacers as the rival. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, no, it's funny. So I'm working on a Ben Wallace mix, and I came across the Malice at the Palace, and I was going to say, the Pacers by far. That's when I think of Pistons rivalries. I think of Pacers. Yeah, at least for the era of the basketball that I watched.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm seeing people say Rockets. I don't know if that's just. I think that's more Pistons Twitter than anything. Yeah,
that's that recency.
Yeah.
And as soon as you guys said that, I got a follow on Twitter from Jalen Green fan page.
Perfect timing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know a lot of people are saying the Bulls. Definitely the Bulls, without a doubt. But I've been thinking about for a while, because right now the Pacers and the Pistons are kind of in the exact same spot as far as like rebuilding, have some young players that they have as far as talent. And all I'm saying is that just solely from focusing on the rivalry, Cade versus Halliburton, Mathurin versus Ivy, and then potentially DeAndre Ayton and Jalen Duren banging down in the post, dude. All I'm saying, that would be a fun rivalry. Would that not?
They're gonna be sick, dude.
Yeah, like
and we talked about this too, Sean, with those hidden storylines. Like you have especially DeAndre Ayton, because the early talks of free agency was coming to the Pistons. And then you have Tyrese Halliburton, who we passed on for Killian Hayes, and then you have Ben Math, who was working out for the Pistons. Like I just love those little storylines too. So the Pacers. In terms of timeline and historically, of course, it's you got the Pacers, Celtics, and Bulls, but I think the Pacers are the best. I mean, you want to match the Celtics and where they are at, so I get that. But in terms of timeline, the Pacers make the most sense.
Yeah, I mean really the Cavaliers too. I mean, okay. Sean had to look it up. Louis Montero equals worst contract. I know, I understand that nobody cares about this.
I love Sean.
Man, I really made him look up like two-way contracts.
Oh my gosh! Shout out to Sean Court, man. That guy kills me. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I saw someone say Duren versus Mobley. Thinking about that front court of Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren banging up against Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley, dude. Like, all I'm saying, like, when you're starting to see like this core like form together and starting to think about like some of the competition and all this stuff that we're going to be dealing with throughout the regular season, man. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm just pumped when we have some rivalries to talk about, because it's going to be fun again, man. You really don't have that unless your team's good. So we haven't had that in a while.
Got to get in the postseason. Maybe we'll have some battles.
Yeah.
Maybe the Pacers will get there at the same time.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Did
We
you
can
guys-
start another brawl. No, I'm kidding. No, we're not doing that. No.
Did you guys see like Diallo, Cade, and Stewart were on the bench? And I don't know what they said, but like they all dipped at the same time. You want me to send you the video?
Yes, I
Did
didn't
they-
see this.
Yeah, I got to see that without a doubt. They're
That's
like,
what-
they're
they're
like,
like-
man,
like,
who's
I'm out.
even on the court right now? And they're just all like, we're gonna dip.
Hold on, I'm gonna text this to you.
We've seen enough.
Yeah, Livers is probably shut down. Honestly, that might have just been the plan. They might have just taken it game by game, you know,
Yeah.
because like Livers and Stewart, like even Beef Stew, he didn't know if he was for sure if he was playing game 2 or not, but ultimately decided that he wanted another go. So for some of those veterans that don't need the reps as much, maybe they just decided that 2 was plenty. And so
Yeah, like they did for Killian.
Mhm.
Apparently 1 was plenty. So we'll leave
Mhm.
it at that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, we don't have to leave it at that. I am curious on, I mean, we could maybe talk a little bit about it. Maybe not as much like dwelling on what we did see, but like maybe what should be the realistic expectation for Killian this season? And then what's gonna be the expectation for him this season? Does that make sense? Because I feel like there's like an there's like a, it's kind of like expectation versus reality. It's kind of like what like, because in our head, in my head at least, I know that Killian is a good player. I know that I want to expect a lot of him out of this season, but at the same time, I want to be realistic about where he's at in his development and be realistic about what I've seen and maybe temper my expectations a little bit. But I want to know what you guys are thinking as far as what you think should be the expectation and then what you think it's actually going to be.
Well, I'll go first because I kind of talked about this today at Woodward Sports, and I think with Killian, there's a difference. The expectation among many fans is 6th man of the year. All right, and I don't know where that came from, but he can be very important off the bench. And I think with Killian, if you can get rid of that, he's a scorer narrative, then I think the rest will take care of itself. He's not a scorer. He does so many things well that I think get overlooked at times. Yes, we talked about this, Sean. Like you'd like the efficiency numbers to get up, which that's what we're expecting out of him. But in terms of his overall game, like if he comes off the bench and gives you, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, whatever it is, get you a little over a steal. What he can do on ball defensively on the perimeter, going against guys coming off the bench, being your first really or second guy off the bench. That's where the value comes in. And I think if he's playing well, Pistons are going to be just fine. So that's my expectation for him. Just be solid off the bench. There's going to be times where, you could play all 3 guys, like people pointed out in the chat. You could have Cade, Jaden, and Killian out there. But again, it's just being out there and being solid. I'm not looking at him being a scorer. It's about the other things he does well. So that's really what my expectation is compared to some people I see on Twitter.
Yeah, without a doubt. Oh, you were not kidding. They like literally like a minute in, they were just like, yeah, let's get out of here.
Let's go get some hibachi, boys.
I gotta bring this. I forgot who said it because it passed in the chat. Now I'm kind of bummed out. But I got it. Charles. They left because Saben was still on the court. another shot at Saben.
Oh my gosh. They're
That's
like,
for last-
man, Saban's out here? Dog. No, but we're starting to even see, like right now, I'm gonna level with y'all. This current lineup, I don't think I've seen play throughout the entirety of the summer league. So we are most definitely in the dog days of that summer league, man. We got our boy Carl back. Welcome back, my guy.
Not sure what happened.
All good, man. All good. But Carl and Anthony too, just want to go to you guys as well on that topic because I know because again, like Jeff said, there's so many things that Killian does well, and it's not this thing that like, and again, my narrative has never been that he needs to be this great scorer, right? It's always been, and I'll always repeat it just to make sure it's known. It's that he just needs to be NBA level. As long as he can be NBA level, that's fine by me. It doesn't have to be. He could score 7 points a game, but as long as his efficiency's up, that's fine by me. But Anthony, I want to know your thoughts, man. What do you think we should expect of Killian this year, and what do you personally expect of him?
I think we should expect him to man our second unit. I think moving him to the bench was probably the best thing Dwayne Casey ever did.
Yep.
Because you saw his confidence go up, and the fact that he could possibly have a Jalen Duren and a Marvin Bagley off the bench with him, a Hamid Diallo, he should average 6 assists bare minimum every night. If you can give me 10 and 6, I'm happy as a fan. I think some people, when they see the 7th pick, they kind of get like upset because they want that production like immediately. They want him to average 15 and 8 a night, and that's not the type of player he is. I mean, I think some people forget Marcus Smart was the 6th overall pick during his draft class. And
Right.
when I look at Killian Hayes, I see a lot of similarities between him and Marcus Smart. Now, obviously, Killian's a way better passer than Marcus Smart. We hope he can become a mid-30s 3-point shooter. But, I mean, having a guy like him off the bench as your backup point guard is a luxury that the Detroit Pistons have.
Right.
And that's my view on Killian Hayes. I know he's going to get traded because I bought his jersey. And I'm a jersey curse.
Hey, I got it too. I got it too.
Yeah, my last jersey was Sekou Doumbouya, and we all know how that turned out. So Troy Reaper is coming, and I just hope it's not soon.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I don't know if I don't know if I'm at the point where I think he's going to be traded. I'm still not entirely sure. But Carl, where are you at on this, man?
So here's my take. So I think Killian is in a Jeff Okuda situation. I think he got drafted relatively high, and he had really high expectations, like we were saying. But you have to remember, I mean, there's guys, Chauncey, Steve Nash. I mean, there's a lot of guys who weren't productive in their first few years in the league. Sometimes it just takes a while. You have to remember he played overseas for a while. He's got to be Americanized. I mean, these are all things that we've kind of beat a dead horse on over the past few weeks talking about Killian. But I think he can be a player, a 6th man of the year type player. He's got the skill set. We've seen flashes of his ability to lead the second unit.
No.
Sorry, man. I'm sorry to cut it off, but that killed me, brother.
Dude, they would have got buckets.
Dog, Ashton, I will listen.
At least he's telling the
Ashton,
truth, man.
Listen, Ashton, you were literally in Vegas with this team last week. I will buy you dinner if you can tell me the first name of one of these mother. I will buy you dinner from anywhere of your choice. If without looking, you can tell me the first name of any of these guys. But anyway, we got Sean Corp from Detroit Bad Boys in here. My personal friend, Sean, my man. How you doing? Thank you so much for hopping in.
I'm falling asleep. Other than that, I'm fine.
Well, you're not captivated by this exciting basketball we're watching?
My screen's too small to even know who these people are.
Brother,
even if your screen was full size,
you could be watching this on IMAX right now. That's not going to help. Oh my gosh! But Sean, first of all, your two-way player debate with Anthony in the comments killed me. That was incredible. That was so good. I loved every minute of that.
Incontrovertible fact.
Oh my gosh!
And if you remember, he was signed because he played one game against Stan Van Gundy and he scored like 20 points. And so Stan Van Gundy was like, you know what? We should just sign that guy. He was great against my terrible team.
Sounds about right.
That was Stan, the GM for you.
Wasn't that the Henry Ellenson year where he like averaged like 92 shots a game in the summer league?
Yep, that was
shot like 30.
He was a teammate of Henry.
Oh man.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh, Sean, you've been following this Pistons team for years. You're as dialed in as anybody. You're as as loyal and as as thoughtful about this team as anybody.
Old? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. No, what I'm saying is you know your shit, my friend. And so with that, I want to know where you're at on the current Killian Hayes situation, what you expect out of him going into this season, and if it excites you about that backup role for him, and if you think he's going to excel in it.
Well, I mean, I think he has to be a backup because he still has no offensive game. And I think there's plenty of people in the league, limited offensively, really good defensively, that can carve out a career. I like what I see so much from him from a defensive perspective, from a passing perspective, that he just needs to get that offensive game up just a little bit, and he can be a real player, but he's not there yet. His offense is still real bad. if you follow me on Twitter, I was adamant the Pistons should hire the Spurs shooting specialist coach, Chip England.
And I agree with you.
That's the kind of guy that could really transform Killian's game, because the shot is it's just a broken shot. So he needs some radical intervention if he really wants to become an NBA player. But I mean, he's got the other elements to succeed: size, speed, defensive instincts. Like, he can be somebody, but you got to be able to score at some point or you're not going to make it. So he'll try and figure it out off the bench, and then maybe he gets crowded out of Detroit. Maybe he shows enough where they want to invest in him as that defensive backup point guard.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. And I mean, when you truly think about it and you look at it from like a big picture standpoint, like, the pressure for Killian's just only bumped more and more each and every year, because I mean, the year after we get the number 1 overall pick, of course, it ends up being a point guard, right? And then we get the number 5 overall pick, and it ends up being another guard, right? So with that, like, it turns out when you draft 2 really talented guards and fill that guard room up, it's only going to make the pressure more and more, because the truth is if he doesn't show some of those improvements, Detroit does have the position to say that we can move on, and that he can, like you said, be kind of like, not like shoved out, but kind of like become, like, it can become apparent that he might not fit long term in that sense. But
yeah, for a little optimism though, I'd say, Jaden Ivey might be gunning for his starting spot that Killian started with last year, obviously, but last year, Killian off the bench, he was not rewarded for his good point guard play with good teammates and people that could run, especially when Killian's game just feeds off of people that cut to the basket and run the floor, and he never had that. So you couldn't even really see what he could do as a passer. It's kind of amazing he racked up as many assists as he did with his teammates. So adding an Ivy, who's probably going to play a lot of minutes with bench guys, Duran, who's going to probably exclusively play with bench guys, like, that's house money for Killian and his passing game. He can show off that elite skill that I think kind of goes unnoticed because there's just nobody in Detroit that could really score.
Right. Yeah. And like you said, like, even though he is a guard, like, just getting someone that can get out and run, and like the prospect of like Ivy and Killian playing on the court together, like, I don't think that's like a bad like fit together. I don't think I think their games can complement each other pretty well. So like, as far as like roster fit, and like you guys said, like, like there is a world where Killian, like you brought up that Marcus Smart, where like he's able to like, really have that impact on the game defensively and do all sorts of other things. But the reason why they can keep Marcus Smart on the court is because he developed that offensive game, a part of it too, so that he wasn't a liability on that end either. Even though he still wants to, like, he's not the most consistent offensive player, but at the very least, Marcus Smart is a form of a threat, right? Like, you can't just leave him wide open. Yeah. So
and and I think that's why people are so desperate for Killian to get a little more selfish with his offensive game, even as bad as it is. Just force the issue. That's something he still will not do because he wants to be that passer. But, Marcus Smart was bad for years on offense. I'm looking right now. It took him till season 5 to have a true shooting percentage above 50%, which, 50% is not even good. But, he forced the action. He got to the free throw line a little bit. He made people defend him, and like, Killian just doesn't make people guard him, and that's got to change.
Yeah, without a doubt, man, without a doubt. And again, it's not, and again, that's where the conversation comes, because a lot of people say, well, he needs to develop his offensive game, and immediately you go to the extremes, right? You go to the, oh, well, he's never, like, you're wanting him to be this like Bradley Beal or like this like Russell. It's like, no, like that's not the conversation at all. But
don't forget real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, don't forget French James Harden. All right, just throw that in there.
One thing, we talk about how the shot's broken. The one thing I would wish out of Killian, please stop taking step backs. just until you can show that you can hit that you can hit a standstill. Until you can hit a standstill, let's not do the step back. Am I crazy for that one?
No, I hear you on that. There were points last season and even before then when he would try to, show that, I can hit this shot, and then it would be probably one of the worst misses he's ever. But yeah, the one thing is he can't even legally drink yet. It's kind of the surprising thing.
Right.
It's just how young he is. He's been in the league for a few years, so he should have. I mean, by now you would expect him to have some sort of progress. I guess these flashes that he shows are just so they seem so promising, but it's just such a disappointment when he goes back into a shell and
Yeah, for sure, man. I definitely feel that, but hopefully this season, this year, I think having that, that continuity on that second unit is definitely something that will help. But like you said, having some actual players that can play with him on that second unit, having some talent, because that bench last year, like you said, man, it was not, our second unit was not exactly lighting it up on the offensive end, to put it kindly. So, there'll be some more continuity there, and I would expect Corey will move back there just like he was there at the beginning of the season. And I don't think we'll be seeing Corey come through on that. But at the same time, yeah, exactly. Pistons legend, everyone's favorite player, Corey Joseph.
Deep sigh.
Oh my gosh.
King's cringing somewhere.
Do we think Troy missed that bad on a pick? I don't know if you're talking about that pick specifically. I mean, even if that's his worst pick, it's not a bad pick.
Ask every NBA team at 7th overall, because a lot of these guys miss at 7 anyway. And I know there's the Devin Bookers, the Donovan Mitchells, and people like to use these guys as examples. But the reality is, if you can get a solid rotational player at 7, and that's the worst draft you can argue he's had, a lot of teams would be okay with that. If Killian could give you 10, 5, and 5, whatever it is, and be good defensively. Exactly. I get it. He's not going to be a superstar. I'm shocking. I'm sorry, guys, but there's still value there. So I'm cool with whatever he develops into. And I think the interesting point too, and I love the Marcus Smart comparison so much, because that's one guy I've been trying to make comparisons to. But again, the same time, Marcus entered the league older. I think people kind of let that slide under the radar, and Killian only has so much time before you could say he's young, but still, that's the fact. He still has plenty of time. So this is a big season for him, man. I'm really excited. And he's got talent. And that's why I wanted to ask Sean too, because we talked about it with Marvin Bagley coming off the bench potentially, or Livers being in that starting lineup. Do you think having Bagley off the bench, as opposed to Livers or whoever you prefer, would benefit Killian with that second unit coming into the game?
Oh, yeah. I mean, as much as people talk about how Cade's eyes lit up when Bagley joined the team, that's Killian's game as well. Think of how many times he wanted to throw a lob, and then Stewart or someone else, they're just, below the rim players. There's nobody he could throw the lob to. That's Bagley's entire game, for better or worse. He's 86% at the rim, which is an almost unbelievable number. He just wants to dunk the ball, and that works great with Killian. Now, it'd be a lot easier to throw a lob to an open big man if you were a threat to score at all, because now guys are just going to play off of him. It's sagged so deep that those passes aren't going to be as readily available. So he's got to find a way still to use offense to kind of unlock that passing.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. Cody, thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. Cody. And that's the other thing too. Like you said, you hit on the fact that we got Sadiq and Stu in that draft as well. So even if you go 2 for 3 on 3 first-round picks, that's a good conversion rate, right? So
I don't know if Troy would have drafted Killian if he didn't have his eyes set on those other, on Sadiq and Stu.
I mean, it's easy enough to dwell on bad or less than ideal draft picks, but if he takes Tyrese Halliburton, they're not going to be so bad that they're going to draft Cade. They would have had a better record. So if you want Cade on your team, then you got to say everything that happened before it was meant to be. Like,
Well, yeah, that's
just-
exactly it, man. We're officially at a point as Pistons fans because we have sulked collectively for years, right? And I'm glad that you brought that up, and I'm glad that you bring up that like sense of transition because it is easy to dwell on the negative stuff and on holes in people's game because we're used to as Pistons fans being disappointed by draft picks. But like you said, like everything that led up to this point was what put us in the position to land Cade. And it
well,
put
we
us in the
should have
position.
drafted Franz Wagner.
Apparently.
Oh God. Oh,
Yeah.
God. That one
Yep.
was tough.
Thank you
That
for
one was
reminding
tough.
me. So this dumbass on Twitter today logged in and had the brilliant idea. I'm not even going to show his Twitter handle on here because I don't want to promote bad takes. But
Terrible take.
he said, imagine thinking Cade Cunningham is a better prospect than Franz Wagner. Now,
I can
there's a
imagine
lot.
that.
And you know what the worst part is? The thing that he cited was that he's gotten better as a free throw shooter by age. And like, if you are basing the level of a prospect based on their free throw shooting,
Hey, he's getting the calls.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I love Fran, so I'm not gonna.
well, I like Franz Wagner. I like him as a
Yeah, we're not-
player.
It's not a
But-
bashing sesh, but it's the reality of it. Like it really is.
It's the ridiculousness of the statement. It's like, if someone was to say, it's like if someone was to say Lindsey Hunter was the best point guard in the NBA in 05. Like, I love Lindsey Hunter. Guy's great. Wasn't that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't even the best point guard on the Pistons. So, yeah, it's just, Ashton just tweeted 3 minutes ago, Netflix time, baby.
That's tough.
Oh, my gosh.
We
are-
I
kind
don't
of
think they're
smelled
getting
this
a
in a way.
championship ring.
Yeah.
How unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. No
How
championship
unfortunate.
ring for the Pistons this year, man. What a bummer.
But let's be honest. Were Isaiah's or were our good guys going to play after this game anyway? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, especially like Ivy and I mean, I know Durant's still playing, but like, there comes a point where like you see enough of your guys, and I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I think we're even seeing that. Like, people are talking about Duran's resting right now.
Yeah.
Maybe they just realized, hey, this game really doesn't mean much. Take a seat, young fella. This is because like you said, there is a point where, and as I said, that Duran's on the court. So the I'm talking about. But anyway, there seriously does come a point to where, summer league at a certain point is more about evaluating those deeper players because you want to see something out of your top players, and it's like, all right, awesome. We're going to be able to see a whole lot of you going forward. But this is where a lot of teams can fill out their farm system, fill out their rotation. But also, realistically, there's a lot of European scouts here for a reason too, because a lot of these
Right.
guys will be playing in Europe.
And
So-
let's be honest too. Like we want to eventually get to the point where we don't give a rat's ass about summer league. Like that. That's kind of where it's going to be trending anyway. So I mean, look at the Celtics. Look at the Warriors. I mean, the Warriors have James Wiseman. So I guess if you're paying attention,
And
it's different.
Kuminga.
And Kuminga as well. They have like a mix of veterans /
Moses
young
Moody.
guys. So it's a weird. Yeah, Moses Moody, a guy who's actually been balling, by the way.
Mhm.
So it's a weird dynamic, but still, the point is, I'm not. It's not my phase. I'm upset because I want to see more Jaden Ivey, but again, I'm
Yeah.
cool with it.
Yeah. Now, can I ask you guys? So since this is an NBA channel, I do want to like we'll get back to Pistons. I do just want to 1 second ask. I want
Are you
to
saying the
know.
summer league game's not NBA basketball?
Well, I was gonna ask. Throughout the summer league, have there been what guys have impressed you? Like, has there been anyone that you've watched that throughout the draft process that maybe you feel more vindicated about after watching? Is there a player that maybe showed a little bit more than you were expecting? I want to know what your guys' thoughts have been throughout summer league because it's been fun to watch.
probably Keegan Murray. Like, I knew he was going to be a good player, and I know a lot of us are halfway joking when we say, we didn't want him on the team. I think he does fit best with the Kings. But yeah, I have been more impressed than I thought I'd be with him. in terms of consistency and just his ability. He's not a flashy player, but he can definitely score the ball.
Yeah.
If you would have told people before the draft that some of the talk on Twitter during the summer league would be that Kings fans were really saying that that the Rockets screwed up by drafting Jabari Smith over Keegan Murray, no one would have believed you. But that's where we're at because that's the internet. But no, the talk, like anyone that said Keegan Murray could not play did not see Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray is a solid basketball prospect. And I think he showed he's going to be a solid NBA player for a long time. I think another thing we learned, you know, that Paulo guy, I think he might be good at basketball someday.
Maybe. Possibly.
Yeah, he has a chance. Sean, you think you'll ever get out of the G League, that Paulo guy?
As somebody that had Chet and Paulo 1 and 2 on the draft board when I was hoping the Pistons would get the top pick, I feel pretty vindicated by summer league.
Same here, man.
You can just see when guys clearly have all those tools and they just showed out. So
Cody,
clearly.
dog, this is your third super chat of the night, brother. Thank you so much. You're crazy, dude. I love it. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. You're a lunatic. You're a madman.
Oh yeah, Cody's a madman.
Yeah, you're a madman.
And I still think with Paulo Banchero too. I've been saying this and I kind of stick by it. I think he'll be the first All-Star. He is the most, like, what he could do at 6'10", and that's why it makes sense now that why they drafted number 1 overall. I guess at the time, Jabari Smith was rumored, Chet Holmgren another one, but still with Paulo, he could just do it all. Just give him the ball and let him work. And I think that's all-star level. Now, if Orlando can win some games, obviously, but he's got all the skills. And we talked about defensively. There's been question marks even before the draft. He's gotten a lot better. It's really just a mentality thing, and he's been able to click it. So Paulo's been exciting to watch for sure.
Late to the party here, but did the Pistons go from best summer league roster to worst summer league roster in the matter of one game? Yes, we did. We very much did. It did not take long. All it took was a couple players to say we're done, and now we are watching the Motor City Cruise.
The Pistons are currently 3 for 16 from 3-point range right now, 18%. Gotta love it, man. It's just, hey, it's summer league, boys. All right, buckle up.
Yeah,
Buckle up.
yeah, without a doubt. Hey, good thing with the games going, I no longer feel pressure to stay on stream during the entire part.
Yeah, it would have been nuts if it was like it would have been a close game, intense. We're on here, the Pistons fans are tuning in, but no, we got a disaster. But you know what? Still like talking about the Pistons. You know?
Hey, yeah, exactly.
Any excuse to do it.
Yeah, the vibes are going to be immaculate. But Sean, you brought up another guy there on that 1 and 2. You brought up a Chet Holmgren, and Anthony just sighed, I think, a little bit because he knows I'm going to be annoying about Chet because everyone was telling me how much of an idiot dumb I was for liking this guy and thinking he was going to be good at basketball. And Sean, I think I don't know why you had him as high on your board as I did. But I had him up there because of how much skill he has, how versatile he is, all the different things he can do at his size, and just the different ways he can grow and project his game. Like the guy's a freak talent.
Yeah, I mean, I understand having doubts because of his build, but like he's had doubts at every level of basketball because of his build, and then he's the best player everywhere he went. Like some people just know how to do it, and then like he's like a good kind of asshole, it seems. Like he wants to be great in a way that I think not every player does. So like I just have faith he's going to maximize all his potential if he can stay healthy. I understand people doubt his ability to stay healthy when you're that big and that skinny, but he's got all the skills in the world and like super, super high floor, because I think no matter what, he's going to be one of the better big man defenders in the NBA, like quickly. And then everything else is just kind of gravy with him.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Without a doubt. And I think the even better thing about him in Oklahoma City, I mean, we saw with Josh Giddey already, just that pick and roll tandem that those guys can be. But with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in there as well, dude, that's just going to be like as far as when I load up League Pass, when the Pistons aren't playing, the Thunder are going to be one of those teams now I'm going to be looking at, because they're going to be exciting basketball. They just are.
And that's why where you go matters. And that's something that players, like, especially with Chet going to, I love Chet in Oklahoma City rather than, Houston or Orlando. I just love it because you mentioned SGA and Josh Giddey. And that's why Jabari Smith, I'm feeling for him a little bit in Houston. It's going to be interesting to see how he plays, with little to no playmakers on the Rockets. But again, that's why Paulo in Orlando makes so much sense. Like, just give him the ball and get out of the way. So it has a lot to do with the fit, and that's why I'm glad we have Jaden Ivey, because Keegan Murray to the Kings, great fit, and I think he'll do just fine. So that's what it's about, finding the right home.
Yeah, 100%. Omar, he just tweeted as a joke: late stage summer league basketball separates the real fans from the fake. Don't show up to that championship parade in 2026 if you're not watching this. I don't know if I go that far, but I like the energy. I definitely like the energy. He's definitely being sarcastic, but no, Jabari, back to that. I know people have been freaking out about him. I was saying before the draft, the guy couldn't create his own shot yet, and I think we all kind of saw that. And I think I think we all saw the fact that, like, he has a lot of talent and a lot of intangibles defensively. Jabari Smith's awesome. Like, he's insanely awesome, and he even had some better games and has gotten better as summer league's gone on. But like you said, Jeff, not having that playmaker has clearly hurt his game. But in addition, we don't really know if that playmaker is going to be there in the regular season either.
Yeah, it's not about what I see in summer league, like his low efficiency shooting. It's not something to do with that. It's about the Rockets roster itself. Like, not the summer league. It's like, okay, you take things. Keegan Murray's playing well. Okay, great for him. Jabari's not shooting the ball well. Last night he played well. Like, they're gonna have ups and downs. It has nothing to do with summer league. It's just looking at the roster. Like Jalen Green, can he grow his game? Yes. Kevin Porter Jr. He's a good passer, but both those guys, it's gonna be interesting to see the fit. I mean, for sure. They got Eason, which Eason's a steal. Shout out to the Rockets. Got him, in the first round. So another guy they're gonna, build with their core. But I'm still excited for Jabari. He'll be just fine. He'll be good.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. People asking we should focus on our 2-way contracts between Key or Buddy B. Do we have anything there? Well,
so far, no.
I'm gonna say you have players filling those roles. They're taking the money for the contract. So in that sense, we have something there.
I'd say there's a chance Braxton Key is better than Kevin Knox, but I think that has more to do with Kevin Knox than Braxton Key.
Yeah, let's talk about that too. Do you guys actually think Kevin Knox will be on the opening night roster?
Definitely.
Yeah, he'll be on the opening night. I don't know his role going forward, though. That's the one I'm a little cloudy on.
I was talking to I was texting someone, and I'm not gonna say who, someone who's plugged into the Pistons, and they're like, I'd be surprised if he made it through training camp. And I don't know, and I obviously with Kevin Knox, I know he had that really promising rookie year, and kind of since then it's kind of been going downhill a little bit. But I mean, another one of these reclamation project type signings. Do you think Kevin Knox could be a successful type of reclamation project, or do you think this might be one that might not have some wheels on it? I mean, he's an athlete.
He got the contract of Jahlil Okafor. I think it's going to work just as good as the Jahlil Okafor reclamation project did.
So we're getting the first pick again, then?
Not going to complain. Do we know, is the second year of the Knox deal guaranteed?
I believe it sounds, I asked about that. It sounds like there's an option on the second year.
Thank God.
Yeah.
There was not an option on the Okafor deal, if you remember.
Oh gosh, that's right. We were locked in for 2 full years of the Okafor experience. Oh my gosh, what a freaking man! Buddy Boeheim now has a team high 9 points in this summer league classic. So
you hear that, Anthony?
Yeah, it's because I called him out.
Sparred him.
Oh my gosh. Pistons thoughts. Every Pistons fan watching this game should honestly get free regular season tickets. Ooh. Yeah, it's certainly one of those nights. But in all seriousness, I would say I think what it does show, like going back to like our 2A like prospects real quick. I don't know if we have something there in the sense that those are going to be guys who will someday be on the Pistons full time. But what I will say is at the very least, I think what you are seeing with the Pistons is like a very strong dedication and commitment to the Motor City Cruise and to the G League. I mean, bringing them in house, moving them to Detroit, having them in that stadium in Wayne State, and them wanting to see winning basketball at that level as well. I mean, they care about the Cruise too, man. They very much are building that system up. So I'm not saying that we're going to have anyone come in right now from that system and shine, but like you're going to reap the benefits eventually, right?
Well, the other thing it does is somewhat it lights a fire underneath the guys above them. This is a rebuild, so like no one's safe. I mean, Cade's safe. Maybe it's probably Sadiq, you could argue. Even him, I mean, nobody's safe. And so, like, if anything, like these guys can turn into something that may be tradable down the line. I think that could be a concern, like in my opinion, a concern for Killian. I think he might not develop to the point where like he might become a guy that will develop enough to become tradable. And then when we trade for that all-star, maybe even superstar down the line, he might be thrown in with that. But
yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, man, here's the reality of it. When we are going to eventually make a trade, and when we do, it is eventually going to involve the name of a guy we like or a guy that we thought was going to be in Detroit for a long, long time. That's just the way these things work. So, with that, like you said, Carl, I mean, that's certainly something I could see is Killian being part of any of those types of trade packages. But yeah, no, without a doubt. I think again, we won't see, any two-way guys coming in anytime soon being like, oh, these guys are going to take over the league. But again, we will see the fruit of having that type of system in-house. Right. So, but now I guess kind of focusing now that we're out of summer league, or I guess that now that we're out of this part of summer league that fans care about, which is when you're seeing your top talent. What are some of your questions that you have going into the season after the summer league? Is there any thoughts that have sparked while watching this team play? I know for me, I know I'm far more excited about the prospect of a Duren beef stew front court after this summer league than I was before. Even though I was excited about it beforehand, I see the vision now. I love it. Like those guys are just two dogs. So I guess for me, one of my wonders is, how much are we going to see those guys play on the court together this season? And at what point do we see those guys potentially starting together? But I want to know what you guys are thinking going into this season. I want to know like what stories you're focusing on.
Mine is Isaiah Livers. I'm still sticking by it because Isaiah coming into the summer league, like I knew he'd have a role, but I didn't know he'd be, as good. And I get it summer league, but it's also the things like not even on the stat sheet, like the communication, calling guys out, telling them where they're supposed to be. Like that's value. And I think with Isaiah Livers, he's going to have a much more significant role this year. Like there's already discussions fans are having, like including me and you, Sean, about whether he should start or not. So that's really the player I'm most excited for. I think we talked about it going back to where we took him in the second round. Like he's going to be a great player, and the ability to knock down shots and play defense the way he does. I'm excited for him. So it's got to be Isaiah Livers.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. Sean, what about you? As you're going to be writing some great pieces over on Detroit Bad Boys, which by the way, people should go check out. What do you got? What are you focusing on, my man?
Well, I don't want to be negative, but I'm going to be negative here. Because as much as I have loved Jalen Duren's play so far, when you talk about minutes, especially starting minutes, his rebounding has been terrible.
Oh, I agree.
And I think that's just an effort thing, probably screwing around in summer league. But like until he can show he can, control the boards at an NBA level, if he can't do that, it's going to limit the willingness of Dwayne Casey to give him real minutes. So
I want to clarify, Sean, I don't think he's starting day one. I don't think he's even going to be close to starting day one. I think he'll probably start with like 15 minutes a game, 20 minutes a game at most and like getting some solid run with that bench unit. I'm thinking like if we were to see Duren start, in my opinion, it probably would be like towards like the second half or even the second, like 2/3 through the season. That would be the way I would see it. But to your point, like you said, he has to take steps to get there because like you said, he's not there yet.
Yeah, I think that's more like a cautionary warning to Pistons fans that might have some outsized expectations because everybody gets so excited for the new guys, every year. But like Duren has shown tons of things, and to be positive on Duren, not just the dunking, which has been amazing. He's actually really impressed me with his ability to kick out to shooters when somebody cuts him off. And that's something that the Pistons have not had from their big men very much in the last few years. And to be able to at least have those sort of instinctual awareness when you're 18 years old, playing your first professional games. Like, I'm not saying he's, Bam or anything, but like that's exciting to see. I want to see that element of his game. I'm going to pay attention to that early in the year when he does get minutes.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love that without a doubt. Anthony, my man, what are the things that you're excited to talk about over on the Pistons Talk podcast over there?
What are we going to do with Kelly Olynyk? This is something I've been thinking about. I know I said I thought we were going to trade him before the season starts because I just don't really see the point of having the Kelly Olynyk, Duren, Isaiah Stewart, Marvin Bagley all in one roster. Like, yeah, he provides a veteran presence. Yeah, he's probably one of our better 3-point shooters, but I feel like you can get value for him right now.
Yeah, without a doubt. And he's that type of guy that, that versatile type of big that can stretch the floor is the type of guy that, it's not like teams aren't looking to have that type of thing. So, listen, man, I agree with you. It makes a lot of sense, especially when you're looking at the depth chart and the way things are landing right now. Olynyk just doesn't look like a natural fit on this roster at the moment. There's still room for him to play.
Somebody's got to hit some 3-pointers though. So if it's not going to be, the guys you want to see improvement from,
yeah,
right. Fans have to be ready for like the inevitability of the young guys struggling, and then Dylan Casey says, "I need somebody to hit a 3." Hey, Corey Joseph. Hey, Kelly Olynyk. Take us to the promised land, and then just gonna have to deal with it.
Right. There's gonna be nights where those young guys are struggling, and there's gonna be those moments, and that's what the veterans are there for, right? Like ideally, like is to both help steer the ship, but also like help it not sink too bad either. Like guys who can man those minutes, who have seen NBA floors, who have that experience. Absolutely, man. Carl, what about you, man?
So for me personally, I want to know, can Sadiq Bay become a consistent, reliable player for us? He obviously has nights where he's shown that he's elite at shooting and scoring, and then there's nights where he just doesn't show up. He'll get like 2 points, and he's just not there. So I'd like to see that he develops that consistency, and he's a workhorse, man. It sounds like he's just putting in so much work during this offseason. I really do think he can take the next step up. So I'm expecting to see that from him this season.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Especially after that article about what he's been doing this summer, his time in Colorado, doing those 2-a-days, working out, doing high altitude training, all the stuff he's been doing. I'm just, that is a man. That is the epitome of built different. It's just unreal. I guess one last thing, that I want to talk about before we go off the stream, or maybe just kind of start to wrap it up for a little bit, because this game, we're not even, listen, y'all, I have to level with y'all. I've had this tab open. I haven't watched this game in like
Me neither.
10, 15, 20 minutes. Like, I don't care. But
they had consecutive threes blocked. You missed that.
Oh, joy, man, I'm truly missing out then. Holy cow. But I do want to bring up some of the comments that specifically Andre Iguodala made on a podcast today that you all might have heard about. And I think a lot of people are kind of taking the quote out of context a little bit. And I kind of want to dive into what he was actually saying. Andre Iguodala is saying that he believes that Rasheed would be a top 5 player in the modern NBA. He said, and here's what he said, because I want to put the quote out there for context. People ran away with him saying that Rasheed would be better than Giannis. Rasheed Wallace probably could have been top 5 player in the league for a 10-year stretch, he said. He just chose, I'll do my thing over here. He was shooting threes from half court. No, he was shooting half court shots, left-handed or right-handed. If Rasheed Wallace played in modern day basketball today, he played in our league today, he'd be the top 5 player in the league. He'd be better than Giannis, and I love Giannis. And I think what he's saying there is I think he's just talking about the talent and the overall, like the intangibles and what Sheed had in his game, because I think what he's saying here is that he had the talent to be that type of player, right? And he would have especially thrived in the modern day game, right? I don't know. I don't like, if you look at for what Sheed actually was and you're saying, oh, he'd be better than Giannis, are you crazy? Like, I understand why people are thinking that. However, people need to remember Sheed was a talented player. Yeah. An insanely talented player. And when he was younger, he was being projected as a guy who could have been one of the stars of the league. So I don't think Andre Iguodala was saying anything crazy about Rasheed. Am I alone on that?
No.
Mm-mm.
No.
Yeah.
I got the Giannis thing kind of shocks me, but I get the point. I mean, I understand it.
Yeah.
I think he's just talking about like the way she played, because like his game in the modern NBA, like he would be a star, like he said. I don't know about top 5, maybe top 10.
Yeah.
Because like when he was in Portland, I mean, he was going up against Shaq and Kobe in the Western Conference Finals, and he was giving them buckets. So I could see where Andre Iguodala is talking about, and I think a lot of people forget, like when Andre Iguodala was a rookie in Philly, I mean, he got to see Sheed firsthand, so he was probably guarding them each and every night.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing about Sheed is that he contributed a lot, and that didn't show up on the stat sheet. Like he was a guy that came in. I mean, obviously we won after we traded for him. I think he just brings so much energy, a lot more than not more than scoring, but just
Robert,
as much as scoring.
Go to hell. Anyway, keep going. That's Robert, the co-host of the Pizza Palace. It's my man. I love him to death. It's one of my best friends. I stood in his wedding. Go to hell.
You don't like Steve?
My gosh. Anyway,
Steve Blake is probably one of the best to ever put on a Pistons uniform, man.
Yeah. More of a Jose Calderon guy.
Thank you, everybody, so much for. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Oh my gosh. I mean, I love Sheed, but he cannot move how Giannis moves. Different body type. I don't think he was saying again that I don't think he was comparing him to Giannis. I don't think he was saying he'd be a better athlete than Giannis. I think he was just saying from the type of game that he had, he really would have thrived in the modern day game, right? And so even though everyone was freaking out today and was going crazy at some of those comments, I think we just got to, first of all, it's a lesson that you got to read the freaking quote first. And second of all, you got to understand where he's coming from and what it means, because Sheed was a hell of a talent, man, without a doubt.
Hey, it's important to read the story now. I mean, ask ESPN citing Ballsack Sports. How important is it to actually find and read into things?
Yep.
Shout out to Ballsack Sports.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, man. Yeah. Or there's Ballsack Sports. There's Butt Crack Sports. There's all these ones. Yeah, phenomenal. We'll get one for every part of the body.
I mean, we got to give a shout out to Andre Stans, real OG on Pistons Twitter.
That's true.
He got me bad once.
Andre Stans crawled so Ballsack Sports could soar. Oh my gosh. But all right, everybody. I think this is probably going to be it for the stream. The third quarter's kind of partway through. Pistons are down by 25. I don't really know if there's much to talk about. Cade is being interviewed currently on the main desk by the analysts. So that'll be a fun listen. excited to get into that. But everyone that's tuning in tonight, thank you all so much for being here for this Summer League watch party. Be sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Be sure you're following all these talented people on here. Sean, Anthony, Carl, thank you guys so much for coming on. Sean Corp at Detroit Bad Boys. If you're not following him on Twitter, you're making a mistake. Great Pistons mind. Anthony Pistons Talk is another OG as well. Be sure you're checking out his Pistons Talk podcast as well. And then my boy Carl, be on the lookout for all this stuff he's got coming out, man. Because if you want edits that are going to get you excited for the season, if you want to see excellent basketball content and passionate editing for the love of the game, that's a great guy right there. But also be sure that you're tuned in. Yeah, like Robert said, watch the Pizza Palace, except when he says Steve Blake takes like that. But but in all seriousness, man, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being here. We'll catch you guys next time from Half Court, man.